Now, from the shy, reticent model, actor on the sets of national TV to the bright young superstar of the millennium, Mr. Sheheryar Munawar has stayed the same. He's quirky, he's funny, and beneath all that bluster, all he cares about truly is acting and making good movies. His performance in Qatil Hasino Ke Naam will keep you asking for more. And he tells a beautiful story on marital depression, which is a very, very serious and real issue, through his brilliant writing, as well as his direction in Prince Charming. He understands the changing face of cinema, the distracted audience, and he knows how to still somehow miraculously keep them glued, which is very, very difficult. So presenting our moderator for this particular session, let's welcome Sheheryar Munawar.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me back there? Yeah? A little better now? Yeah? Okay. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction, Anusha. I could see you like really struggling through that. Contrary to popular belief, ये मैंने नहीं लिखा था. ये yes. थोड़ी सी convince कर लेते हैं Anusha उसको. No, I'm kidding. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that introduction. I don't think I deserved it. But ladies and gentlemen, since my beard has already been introduced, I'll introduce the rest of me. I am Sheheryar Munawar Siddiqui, and I will be the moderator for this panel discussion, which is digital and is the topic of which is digital and OTT platforms. So without further ado, let's move on to introducing the panelists. My first panelist is the brilliant Asim Abbasi. One can't question his unmistakable artistry, his command and his dedication to his craft. He's a modern day director who understands what the audience wants, and then he's able to relive those experiences on screen. His moments are like a gentle breeze. They are also a whiplash. In his work, there is thought and there is feeling, and that is why his actors shine through unfailingly. He loves and nurtures them, and that love shows on screen. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the talented Asim Abbasi. That not as nice as mine? Acha, okay. Thoda maine kaat peet diya isme se. Yes, that would be fine. My next panelist is the beautiful Sarwat Gilani. Her craft lies in her versatility. She could be many things at the same time, and yet make it all look so easy. And that is exactly what she is, effortless in whatever she does. Be it the protagonist from Asim's Churels, or the heartbroken lover looking for vengeance in Qatil Hasino Ke Naam. She has had a career reigning over 2 decades in TV, films, and theatre. Please put your hands together for the beautiful Sarwat Gilani. Ji. So, I'm left with my final panelist, who is the gorgeous Syra Yousuf. She's made her own rules, and at the same time, she's challenged existing ones. There is a rage in her eyes, and in a moment, there is absolute serenity. From playing the girl next door to the resilient army cadet in Sinfe Ahan, she has portrayed a range of characters flawlessly. She is one of the first to break into the digital landscape. Please put your hands together for the director's delight, the gorgeous Syra Yousuf. Yeah, we could have you on that side. No. Yeah.
They'll turn them on.
Is it? No?
Syra ka mic
Try
on
coming
kar
on
de,
this side.
please.
Yeah. Try that one.
Yeah, that's on.
ठीक है जी. Is it
Yeah,
working?
it's
Okay.
working.
All right. Okay, so how we're going to conduct this tonight is that I'm going to be asking each one of you a question each, or
Yeah.
two maybe, and then I will throw in a few questions for all three of us, and then in the end I will open the floor to questions from the audience. So Asim, let's start with you. How does it feel to have conceived and executed one of the most talked about web series of last year, Churels? And why do you think it took so long for a Pakistani to, make his mark on the global OTT map?
Okay. The first part, it feels great, but it was unexpected. I think when we set out to make Churels, we kind of didn't really know the implications of what might happen and where it might go. It had a snowball effect because it resonated with a lot of women, it resonated with a lot of people just generally, and I think it became much bigger than at least I had anticipated. So it was great. Why did it take so long? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think we do not have, for a very long time, and we still are in the shadow of India in terms of the content that we produce. And Netflix, for example, Netflix is based out of India. They don't have any presence in Pakistan. So I think it's just natural for them to go to Indian content. And only when we are producing content that is of any international level would they start to notice us, or anything that can compete on a global basis, because frankly everyone now is watching global content. I don't think we can say that someone is only a consumer of Urdu content or someone is only a consumer of like English language content. Everything is open. So I think everything that we now do that is for an OTT has to be a production value, storytelling, performances have to match to a certain level to the global shows that we are watching.
Asim, it's very interesting what you just said, which is, unfortunately or fortunately, we are in the shadows of content coming out of India when it comes to OTT platforms or global or digital platform. Do you think it's unfortunate for us that, in a way, India has defined South Asian content and we have to follow suit? Is it not possible for us to have our own signature?
No, I think it is possible, but I just think that it takes time, because a lot of channels that are, whether it's film, through box office, whether it's television, through advertising money that comes in, there tends to be a general risk aversity. There tends to be an idea that if something has done well, or we have seen our neighbors do something well, if we emulate that formula, it will do well. But I think good content only thrives when it is original, when it is taking a risk, and when it is doing something that can result in a huge failure, but we do it anyway. And I think that once we start making content like that, and that content is harder to make on television, I feel, even though things are changing now, and I think it's harder to make on film because all your profits are tied directly to that one project. OTT is subscription based. No one program, no one show can dictate the profit margins of that platform.
It's not intrusive, it's participative.
Yeah.
So you genuinely have to participate in the show, whether it's not intrusive.
Yeah.
It's very interesting what you said about television and film as well. I'm going to come back to that.
Yeah.
But before that, let me turn towards Sarwat now. Sarwat, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
You look very good.
Thank you.
Just
So
thought
do
I'd
you.
throw that in. Okay, so Sarwat, I'm going to ask you, you've done television, you've done films, and now you've done digital content, OTT content. As an actor, and purely technical craft-wise, what is the difference of in acting style or preparing for a role, when you prepare as an actor for a role, when it comes to film and more conventional mediums, which is film and television, as compared to OTT platforms?
First of all, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Sheheryar, for having us on your panel. I think, Sheheryar, सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी तो ये है कि हम acknowledge करें सबसे पहले कि finally पाकिस्तान में OTT की बात हो रही है. जब दुनिया globally OTT को conquer कर रही है, and it's pretty much in the middle of it, we're just taking our first baby step. And that in itself is huge for us. I felt, like you said, when I did Churels, आई फेल्ट जो मार्केट है जो हमें देख रही है, जो जहाँ हमारा ये प्रोडक्ट जा रहा है, it's huge. And for the first time I felt we had a foot in the door when it came to global prominence. Before that, before Churels, I feel Netflix पे हमारे पुराने ड्रामे ज़रूर थे जो बहुत अच्छे हैं, बट उसकी बिकॉज वो पुराने थे, लोगों ने ऑलरेडी देख लिए थे, तो उसकी वो एक बॉम्ब वैल्यू नहीं थी. But because of Churels, I felt that a lot of eyes and heads turned to Pakistan. And that for our market is huge and it's very, very important. Having said that, I feel OTT is a completely different ball game in comparison to television, theatre or cinema. हमें बहुत टाइम मिलता है एक ड्रामे में, इनफैक्ट थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही टाइम मिल जाता है आंसू बहाने के लिए, मज़लूम से सकती हुई औरत का किरदार अदा करने के लिए. और वो टाइम जैसे अगर हमें 20 सेकंड टेलीविज़न पे मिलता है या 30 सेकंड फिल्म में मिलता है, हमें वो 5 सेकंड OTT पे मिलता है. सो इट्स ऑब्वियसली फास्टर पेस एंड विद अ डायरेक्टर लाइक आसिम who is not very easily satisfied. I think it's a struggle for starters like us. So बहुत different लगा, बहुत अच्छा लगा ये मीडियम पे काम करना. एंड आई फील कि पाकिस्तान में जितना टैलेंट है और हमारे पास जितने अमेजिंग कॉमेडियंस हैं, आर्टिस्ट्स हैं, राइटर्स हैं, डायरेक्टर्स हैं, प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं, अगर हम सब जुड़ जाएं, सो इससे बड़ी पावर आई डोंट थिंक पाकिस्तानी एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री में कोई हो सकती है. आई एम टॉकिंग इन उर्दू, सो आई कैन रीच आउट टू द मासेस एंड दे कैन ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड दैट दिस इज़ द टाइम जहाँ पाकिस्तान को, हम सबको, हर फील्ड में आया हुआ बंदा उस एक लेवल पे चाहिए जहाँ हम वो प्रोडक्ट बना सकें जो बियॉन्ड आवर ओन नेशनलिज्म हो. आजकल जो टेलीविज़न है वेरी सून ग्लोबली ऑब्सलीट हो गया है, बिकॉज हर चीज़ फ़ोन पे है और फ़ोन आपकी पॉकेट में है. सो अब इट्स आवर टाइम टू मेक आवर मार्क इन दोज पॉकेट्स. So it's very important that as an actor I feel that हमारे पास जितना talent है, as a director I'm sure Asim feels that, as a producer you feel that, as an artist Syra feels that this is a time where we need to make a mark as an organization, as an industry who's ready for OTT.
But ये आपने बड़ी interesting बात की. आपने कहा कि अब जो पूरा content है वो आपकी जेब में है, क्योंकि आप मोबाइल पे देख रहे होते हैं. अगेन OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स भी आपको जेब में मिल जाते हैं बिकॉज मोबाइल पे देख रहे होते हैं. आपने एक बात बोली कि एक्टिंग फास्ट पेस्ड हो गई है, बट अगेन आई विल कम बैक टू द सेम क्वेश्चन, हाउ हैव यू रिस्पॉन्डेड टू दैट चेंज जो एक आपको इर्द गिर्द नज़र आ रहा है चेंज, कि अब कंटेंट जो है वो आप उसको इन्वॉल्वमेंट आपकी कम हो गई है ना. पहले तो इन्वॉल्वमेंट थी, आप घर जाते थे 8 से 9 बजे का टाइम निकालते थे, खाना खा के फिर आप अपना फेवरेट शो देखते थे. अब आप काम करते वक्त बीच में 5 मिनट देखेंगे, फिर आगे करेंगे. लोगों के अटेंशन स्पैन्स भी इफेक्ट हो गए हैं. सो अगेन अकॉर्डिंग टू योर एक्टिंग स्टाइल, आप एज एन एक्टर, व्हाट हैज़ चेंज्ड, हाउ हैव यू अडैप्टेड योरसेल्फ टू दिस न्यू एनवायरनमेंट?
I mean, I am loving the kind of content that OTT is offering me after 20 years of my career. That kind of content, the drama and theatre is still relatively more gutsy, and film हम लोग फिर भी safe play करते हैं. मैं तो as an actor I felt like I've been given another life. Asim shedded my preconceived notions about 20 years of acting, and it was a new me. That's why people saw Sara in Churels very differently than any of my my characters that I had done in dramas. I'm loving it. The kind of topics we are picking up, the kind of subjects that we are addressing on OTT is they're very different from drama, and I think it's just going to get better, and it's a step in the right direction.
Wonderful. So इसी से क्यों लेते हुए सारा आपकी तरफ आते हैं, और सरवत जो बात करी थी उसी से मैं क्यों लेते हुए आपसे सवाल ये पूछता हूँ कि आपको लगता है कि पाकिस्तानी एक्टर्स जनरली दे आर स्टार्व्ड फॉर गुड रोल्स, स्टार्व्ड फॉर गुड कंटेंट, और अक्सर जब एक्सपेरिमेंटल काम होता है और आपको कभी वो रोल मिल जाता है तो फिर एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग आती है बजट की. तो आपको लगता है कि बजट जो है वो इन्वर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द क्वालिटी ऑफ कंटेंट है? और अगर कभी ऐसा कॉम्प्रोमाइज़ रीच करने का वक्त आया तो आप क्या चूज़ करेंगी?
Very good point. I would say कि I think us actors, you're right. हम लोग थोड़े से हैं staffed for different roles that that are different from what we always doing, whether it's on TV, whether it's on cinema, because like Sarwat said, cinema भी safe play करता है, and she's right. Theatre is more gutsy, but if we do TV and cinema, we get हम थोड़े से लिमिट हो जाते हैं इन टर्म्स ऑफ हम क्या पिक कर सकते हैं अपने लिए. तो फिर जब कोई एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग रोल आता है तो फिर आप लेफ़्ट राइट नहीं देखते, फिर आप कहते हैं मुझे ये करना है. फिर उसमें अगर बजट के कंस्ट्रेंट्स होते हैं तो एज एन आर्टिस्ट यू आर लाइक इट्स ओके, कर लेते हैं, बिकॉज आई डोंट गेट टू डू दिस.
ये तो आर्टिस्ट तो वैसे ही स्टाफ करता है, ठीक है,
यही है
3 महीने और स्टाफ कर लेंगे.
Yeah, but that's what I feel. I feel like Sarwat's very right about the fact कि अगर if we all come together, then I don't think anybody would need to make these compromises. Anybody on the team, right? Whether it's the artist, whether it's the camera team,
But
any
you would be
director's
willing.
team.
You would be willing to compromise for a good script like that.
Uh,
No, it's wonderful. I think
I think I already have
If-
many times.
Yeah, if you ask me, I would say yes to the same thing
Yes,
as well.
yes,
So
I have.
it makes sense. इधर से ही कॉन्वर्सेशन आसिम आपकी तरफ लेके चलते हैं. इन्होंने बात की कि हमने कंटेंट की बात कर रहे थे और हमने कहा कि किस तरीके से OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स जो हैं वो कंटेंट को पुश कर रहे हैं. इस तरह के सब्जेक्ट्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं जो सब्जेक्ट्स पहले एड्रेस नहीं हुए. कुछ जगहों पे हम उनको रिस्की भी कह सकते हैं. तो मैं आपसे पूछूंगा कि कंटेंट गेम में आपने चूँकि आपने फिल्म भी की है और अब आप OTT भी कर रहे हैं, डिजिटल भी कर रहे हैं, टेलीविज़न आपने नहीं किया. तो मैं आपसे ये पहले पूछूंगा कि कंपेयरिंग द टू, एक कन्वेंशनल मीडियम जो फिल्म का था जो कि पहले भी टीवी से ज़्यादा पुश करता है कंटेंट को, कंपेयरिंग दैट टू OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स, कंटेंट वाइज क्या डिफरेंस है? इज़ देयर अ सेट रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ यू जब आप OTT प्लेटफॉर्म कर रहे होते हैं कि ये चीज़ें तो आपको डालनी है क्योंकि अगर दिखेगा नहीं तो बिकेगा नहीं? क्या, क्योंकि ये भी अजम्पशन है. सो मैं एक तो दूसरा पॉइंट ये है सवाल का, और तीसरा पॉइंट ये है कि आपसे क्या वो एक्सपेक्टेशंस थी और आपको क्या अनकंफर्टेबल लगा उन एक्सपेक्टेशंस पे आने पे, और क्या आप रिस्की सब्जेक्ट्स पे खुल के बात करना पसंद करेंगे?
I mean, I think risky is subjective. For me, nothing in Jurels was risky, so I think I come from a very different mindset, perhaps. There is zero mandate, and that is the good thing about OTT. There is absolutely zero mandate from, forget saying ki ye dal do, even the log line is mine, even the story is mine. From the beginning to the end, it's all me. I mean, of course, I have a team who does everything, and without them, I'll be nothing, but the decision making comes from me and never the financiers or the platform who might be funding it. So it's completely different, and no, like I'm doing something now that is completely different to Jurels, and that diversity, I think, is what Sarah was saying as well, is what actors and artists and directors and writers thrive on, because we are allowed to not be prescriptive. Ab OTT ki censorship ki baat aati hai. All of that happened after Jurels, but when we were making Jurels, we were not thinking about who's going to censor us or what is going to, and also, very honestly, you are not just thinking about the Pakistani market, because you are actually catering to the global market. You're making it for the diaspora in UK and US, you're making it for India, you're making it for everyone. So I think that censorship thing kind of goes away, which was there in film. I mean, I think Cake was probably a very, very safe film, and I still had multiple conversations with the censor board when it came to it about a couple of lines here and there, and I was like, that's not me. It's very hard for me to operate in that environment. So for me, OTT has been a boon because it really allows me the freedom to do whatever I want to do.
And if you were to say what is the difference, is it just the censorship that you would say is the difference between the other?
Look, there is nothing in terms of gratification of cinema, nothing compares to it. You have hundreds of people sitting in a closed room in the dark watching something that you have created, and the fear of people switching off after 5 minutes is very real in OTT. You have to, not that someone asked you, you have to think about hooks. Will people tune in to see the second episode? Will they binge it? Will they not binge it? So those things do go through your head. But yes, censorship mainly, and it's whatever. Storytelling is better. It's you're allowed. I have more locations. I still work like a film, so I have a wardrobe department, an art department. We have creative conversations and development. So it's just longer, but it's developed like a film. So I think that is exciting. That is something that you don't get in television because everything is so much faster.
And I guess that is why you're doing so well, because you take it just the same way. You've taken the same.
I've been very lucky in the opportunities I've gotten.
And you're being very humble as well. So आपसे बस एक सवाल पूछूंगा मैं, वो ये है कि क्या हमने आसिम अब्बासी को खो दिया? अब वो पाकिस्तान में फिल्म नहीं करेंगे?
नहीं।
क्या वो कभी टेलीविज़न करेंगे पाकिस्तान के लिए? क्या आसिम अब्बासी को ये लगता है कि OTT करने के बाद वो टेलीविज़न को बदल सकते हैं, या शायद पाकिस्तान का टेलीविज़न बदल सकता है OTT की इंट्रोडक्शन के बाद?
Sanam, who I work with a lot, keeps pestering me to do television because she thinks that I can do something good within the confines. So let's see. I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no. In fact, since I've come back from my shoot, I've seen a lot of trailers for, I don't see television that much, but I've seen a lot of shows that are coming out that do look different. So maybe television is turning a corner, and we are now understanding that ठीक है आप वो अपना staple कर लो, 2-3 जो shows करने हैं, but in a week you can give people 1 or 2 shows that are slightly different, and that's okay. So no, I will not say no. And film I desperately want to do once people start going back
Inshallah,
to cinemas.
Inshallah. Okay, so Sarwat, just one last question to you before I ask, some questions to the entire panel, and that is, हमने बात की अभी censorship की बात की, हमने बात की कि certain topics ऐसे होते हैं जो, आप OTT में कर पाते हैं और television पे नहीं कर पाते. As an actor, how coming from the background that you have come from, because हम लोग obviously हमें manage करके चलना होता है, हमें we have to survive in terms of the norms जो आपकी society के हैं, और एक certain assumptions होते हैं कि ये किया तो ऐसे हो जाएगा. तो उसको दिमाग में रखते हुए आप क्या कितनी comfortable हैं, let's say internationally आपको इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह करे आपको और भी इंटरनेशनल OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे इंटरनेशनल प्रोडक्शंस ऑफर होती हैं, और जो वो टॉपिक होता है वो इतना जैसे आसिम ने कहा कि रिस्की नहीं रिस्के हुआ कि दैट आपकी वो वाली चीज़ टेस्ट हो जाए कि मैंने पाकिस्तान भी वापस आना है, तो ऐसे मौके पे आप क्या करेंगी?
I'll tell you what. A lot of times, even in Pakistan, बहुत दफ़ा ऐसे productions थे जो ड्रामे थे, कुछ scenes ऐसे थे. You're asking the wrong person. मैं तो हाथ लगाने पे मेरी एक philosophy
भाई आपके साथ तो goody two shoes है ना, उसके साथ तो बहुत predictable answer होता है, तो मैंने कहा आप ही से पूछ लेता हूँ.
Yeah, but I feel देखें एक limit में रहते हुए आप risky हो सकते हैं. Because obviously you have to come back to Pakistan, you have to come back before Pakistan, you have to come back to your family.
तो वो पागलपन ही क्या जिसमें limitations defined हो?
नहीं, वो पागलपन भी sort of एक thread of there's a thin line, and I think an artist can accomplish anything while being a little safe also. You really necessarily don't have to go all out to prove yourself to be a better artist. अगर मैं ऐसे थोड़े अनकन्वेंशनल सीन्स कर लूँ और मुझे लगे कि मैं बहुत अच्छी आर्टिस्ट बन गई हूँ ये अनकन्वेंशनल सीन्स करके, तो आई डोंट थिंक ऐसी कोई बात है. आई थिंक आपकी परफॉर्मेंस में आपकी आँखों से सबसे ज़्यादा एक्टिंग होती है, और मेरे लिए तो आई थिंक दैट्स द टूल. मेरे सबसे बड़ा जो डायलॉग है मैं हर प्रोड्यूसर के पास बोलती थी जाके, वो ये था कि आपको तन्हाइयाँ याद है, आपको धूप किनारे दश्त याद है, उसमें कोई टचिंग नहीं होती थी, उसमें कोई रोमांस आँखों से होता है. So I will stick to that line till the end of my days, and what that does is, Sheheryar, it makes me work harder.
Yeah.
As an actor, as an artist, कि मैं किस तरह अपनी limitations की बेसाखियों के साथ रह के अच्छी और actor बन सकती हूँ और उसको justice दे सकती हूँ. First of all, I will never take on a character जिसको मैं justice ही नहीं कर सकती. I feel कि एक अलग इंसान है जो इसको और बेहतर तरीके से perform कर सकता है और उसमें बिल्कुल घुस के honestly वो performance देगा. I would opt for that person.
तो आप ये कहेंगे कि आपके नॉर्म्स किसी हद तक आपको आपके जो सोसाइटल नॉर्म्स हैं वो कहीं किसी हद तक कंस्ट्रेंट मतलब पकड़ के रखते हैं?
Absolutely, absolutely, I would say that.
और जहाँ तक आपने ये कहा कि जहाँ तक स्क्रिप्ट जस्टिफाई होती है उस एक्ट से, वहाँ पे आप जस्टिफाई कर पाएंगी उसे?
या लाइक कातिल हसीनाओं के नाम में मैं ड्रिंक भी पी रही हूँ, मैं सिगरेट भी पी रही हूँ, मैं
बट वो आपकी स्क्रिप्ट की कैरेक्टर की रिक्वायरमेंट
कैरेक्टर की है और एक वो लिमिटेशन में है. इट्स फाइन, आई एम ओके विद दैट.
Agreed. अच्छा, तो सायरा आपसे आखिरी सवाल पूछेंगे क्योंकि जैसे हमने अभी भी बताया कि OTT प्लेटफॉर्म्स हर किसी एक्टर की अप्रोच में नहीं है, तो बट हैविंग सेड दैट डिजिटल मीडिया में काफ़ी कुछ हो रहा है, यू नो, चाहे सोशल नेटवर्किंग साइट्स के लिए हो या फिर यूट्यूब के लिए हो, काफ़ी ब्रांड्स जो हैं वो कंटेंट प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. सो इस तरह की सिचुएशन में जहाँ पे एक ब्रांड आपका प्रोडक्शन को लीड कर रहा होता है, एज एन एक्टर हाउ डू यू फील अबाउट दैट? And do you think that what kind of role do corporates in that light play in the development of digital content in Pakistan?
Well, I feel that the second the brands come in, to thoda sa, you have to start compromising. An actor has to start compromising, the director has to start compromising, you have to start fitting in the brand, whether it looks logical or it doesn't. So wo thoda sa, kabhi thoda awkward ho jata hai, maybe for the artist as well, maybe for the director as well. Because it's brands can't, I feel like अगर आपका vision थोड़ा सा उसे disturb हो रहा है तो that's a problem. But at the same time, if you think about it, the OTT platforms that are already existing like Netflix है, Amazon है, like you said, Netflix operates from India, right? So हमें वो budgets provide नहीं किए जाते to make those kind of projects that they would actually take on. So Netflix is not actually giving us budgets to.
I'm just going to hold that thought. I'm going to come back to you with that later.
Yeah. So so they're not actually giving us any budgets. So the only source of big budgets for us then becomes brands.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's like you must, I mean, you do it because you can also express through that.
So it's a means to an end.
It's a means to an end. Yeah.
ठीक है. सो आसिम आपसे मैं पूछूंगा क्योंकि माशाल्लाह आपने अब अपनी दूसरी सीरीज़ कर रहे हैं एक OTT प्लेटफॉर्म के लिए. क्या ये बात सच है? क्योंकि मैंने काफ़ी दूसरे डायरेक्टर से भी सुना है कि पाकिस्तान से जो इंडिजिनस कंटेंट आता है उसके लिए जो पैसे दिए जाते हैं वो पैसे नहीं हैं जो उसी तरह के कंटेंट लेट्स से अक्रॉस द बॉर्डर से लिया गया हो, जबकि हमारी क्वालिटी में कोई ख़राबी नहीं है. माशाल्लाह जो आपने पिछली दफ़ा भी दिया क्वालिटी ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, एंड इस दफ़ा भी आपसे उम्मीद है वो टॉप नॉच की है. तो क्या ये सच है? और ऐसा क्यों है अगर सच है तो?
I do not know what the price range is for India. I think there possibly is some truth in it, simply because what is in it for them to be coming to Pakistan to get the content that they can get made in India? One of the things, apart from the fact that they love Pakistani actors and they want to see them on their screens, and that's a fact. The second thing is that we can probably do the same things a little cheaply because we are still, but that's not my, I mean, things get better. Like I am working with a bigger scale right now.
That's not your
than I did
USP.
on
That's
Churels.
not your USP.
Yeah, no, but also things, once you give them a model that works, so Churels worked. So I have a significant more leeway. There are less questions.
Wonderful.
There is a bigger,
more money?
sizable budget. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful.
that thing changes. You have to
Wonderful.
prove to them that
So
you
you
can
have to
do
prove
it.
yourself, and then wonderful. No, perfect. Okay, so guys, just before we open it up to the audience, I'm just going to ask the big question, which is why is there not enough? And I don't want to direct it in a way that I already know the answer, but why is there not enough Pakistani representation on Netflix, on Amazon, on Disney Plus, on all these OTT platforms, when we have people like Asim, Mehreen Jabbar has done something, who have proven that we can give you the same quality for less the price, as Asim just said. Our production quality does not drop. We've already proved that. Then why is there not adequate representation of Pakistan in South Asian, and I would say South Asian content, whether it is as actors, as directors, or generally as productions as whole?
Can I answer that?
Yes, I'll get to everybody.
Yeah, I think we're just 40 odd years late on that note.
Yeah.
Because 40 years ago, our neighboring countries were placing their talent and their scholarship students in the right places like Netflix and Amazon and Eros or whatever. And they were smart enough to do that because their government supported this idea and their IT was very strong and they thought for the future. Right now, we are thinking about OT because the global bomb has already exploded and we've seen that. So I feel that even now, it's not so late. It is late, but it's not so late. We need to, as a country, the government has to come in and take charge and give scholarships to students who you know will flourish in a place like Netflix or in a place like Amazon or you know, in all these places.
So what you're trying to say is that there's not enough representation of
From
Pakistanis
Pakistan.
in management, in the management of
In
these.
the right places at,
So
at the right
places.
time. You know, we weren't there.
And so you'd like to say that we are being blocked, therefore, because
No,
if there
we
were Pakistanis there, they would encourage Pakistani content.
You see,
but
we-
there aren't Pakistanis there, so Pakistani content isn't encouraged.
No, Sherry, unfortunately, the thing is that when a Pakistani goes abroad and when a neighboring country person goes abroad, he goes half the money and he says, I'll bring in 4 of my country people. That's what he does. When a Pakistani goes, he says, मैं करता हूँ 4 लोगों का काम, आप उन 4 के पैसे मुझे दे दें.
अच्छा.
Right? So that nationalism needs to kick in and we need to say, यार हम पाकिस्तानियों को लाते हैं, हम उनको अच्छी जगह पे पोजीशन करते हैं और हम as a nation खेलते हैं. Because neighboring countries वाले as a nation खेल रहे हैं, हम नहीं खेल रहे. We are very subjected and we do it on a very individual basis. I feel when we all come together, we become more powerful and we have more opportunity to help each other. It's just about willing to help each other.
Okay.
And placing ourselves in the right places.
Asim, I'll take the same question to you.
I think we are late. There's no doubt about it. It's not. I don't know if it's a question of management, like Sarwat is saying, and maybe there's some truth to that. But my big not concern, but the big thing I've realized is that every big studio has a hub in India. You have all the production companies there. You have all the studios there. Netflix is centralized in India for that region. Okay. Amazon has a great relationship there. So it's not. I don't think it's active blockage. I don't think anyone is sitting there and I hear this all the time and I don't believe it. I don't think there is anyone sitting there in India saying, stop, you can't make content with Pakistan. But they do not get the opportunity to see it. They do not get the opportunity to see. And those conversations have started now because content has started. Like, you know, I had a show, Meenu had a show, people had a show, so they know now that we can make stuff. And I think those doors will open very soon.
Yeah.
Wonderful, Syra.
I think it's also, I agree with Asim on some level. I also agree with Sarwat, but I also think it's, we as a nation also, we've, हमें बहुत confused रखा है कि is this a good industry to work in? You know, do you want to work in the media industry? एक तो सबसे पहले वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा, that's something that people have to fight as well mentally, you know. And so a lot of people don't opt for, you know, positions in this industry, right? And but now it's happening, and like she said, हमारा बीच में बहुत बड़े time का gap था where we weren't doing anything, we weren't making anything, and that is showing now, I feel. But obviously it's never too late to start. I think it's a bit of, you know.
I think it's a transitionary
Yeah.
period that we're going through, and I think we'll step up and pick up from here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That is all from me. I will open it up to the floor now. किसी के पास अगर कुछ सवाल हो, हमारे पास एक बहुत distinguished panel है यहाँ पे. ये सब जो हैं अपनी अपनी फील्ड में बहुत ज़्यादा बड़े अचीवर्स हैं. तो मैं आप सबसे पूछूंगा अगर आप लोगों के पास कोई सवाल है. Otherwise we will call this panel to an end.
Habib, you don't have a question. I can expect a lot of smart questions from you, Habib.
No, go for it.
आपको हम mic दे रहे हैं.
हम आपको mic
Yeah.
दे सकते हैं.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I think
Hi,
all of
Abhi.
you know me, so I don't need to
Hi.
introduce. And I had a session earlier, so I just have a question. Asim, your experience, because you know, when I came back and started working in Pakistan, and I'm doing my first movie now, मुझे भी यही कहा गया कि जी आप किसी तरीके से पाकिस्तानी कंटेंट को Netflix, Amazon पे promote करें, ले जाएं. And you have managed to get onto not those, but onto an Indian platform,
Yeah.
which is completely owned and operated out of India. So, do you think there is a lacking also in the type of content that we are sending from here for being put on those platforms because of our own censoring or whatever it is, because we have limitations for the content we make in Pakistan?
I do think that is partially true. I also think that they've just not seen enough from us. to be able to make those calls, right? Like I got a call from Z5 after they saw Cake. So they said, send us anything, and I sent them a bunch of things. They chose one, and that's how Churels got made. There was nothing else to it, really. So I made something that I was being honest about and authentic about, and that kind of resonated. I think this was an earlier conversation we were having, that once you try and be formulaic about things, once you say that I think this might work, the chances are it probably will not work. You just have to risk it all and something will work.
All right, with that, I think we're going to close the panel. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Thank you to the audience for
Thank you for
listening
having us.
patiently.
Thank you for having us.
Hello. Before you leave the stage, can I have, please, Mr. Jahzeb Khan, CEO of Faizan Steel, and Ma'am Ronak Lakhani to come up on stage and give them the token of appreciation, please. Mr. Jahzeb Khan, please. First, can we please give the award to Mr. Sheheryar Munawar, actor and director, and the moderator of this wonderful panel. A big round of applause, everyone, please. Mr. Jahzeb, yes. Now can Mr. Jahzeb Khan give the award to Ms. Sarwat Gilani. Jahzeb, idhar hi hai. Ms. Syra Yousuf. Mr. Asim Abbasi.